have a roll call, please?
Mr. Carpenter? Mr. Cephas? Mrs. Fisher?
Here.
Ms. Fitzko?
Here.
Mr. Kieber?
Here.
Mrs. Kehoe?
Here.
Mrs. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Zachi?
Here.
Mrs. Ramasco?
Here. I have Mr. Carpenter, though, on the
Oh, he's
phone
on.
right now. Yeah.
8 present.
Do you want to call him now?
Mr. Carpenter?
Can you just say you're here? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. The Board of School Directors held an executive session on Wednesday, July 13th. Oh, wait, I should be asking you that. To discuss?
Personnel matters, matters subject to attorney-client privilege and other confidentiality laws, and litigation or threatened litigation matters.
Thank you. Is there any correspondence this evening?
Yes, I have one correspondence from Mrs. Nicole Derrick. She could not be here tonight, but she just wanted to share her support for the State Street PTO and express, well, she's here now.
Can I have a motion to accept or correct the minutes of, or accept the minutes of Wednesday, June 8th board meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Are there any amendments to the agenda for this evening?
Yes, Madam President. Under Education and Technology, we will have to just slightly change number 1. It will read as follows. It is recommended to approve the final ATSI plan for the 2022-2023 school year. The rest is correct.
Thank you. Any other amendments?
Madam President, I have one under Finance, Budget, Buildings and Grounds. Item number 10, we'd like to remove item number 10 for consideration. It needs to be bid.
Thank you. Can I have a second for those?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Kelly,
Yes.
we didn't have the sunshine law.
Sorry.
I announced it.
Oh, okay.
We did a combination special announcement that way.
Mrs. Fisher and Mr. Zachi, I believe, can you both go down for the recognition for this evening? And then we will be calling you up each individually.
Good evening. The Beaver County Sports Hall of Fame. Over the past 44 years, the Beaver County Sports Hall of Fame has inducted 446 individuals who have brought recognition to Beaver County through sports, such as Mike Ditka, Tony Dorsett, Terry Francona, Mike Lucci, Joan Namath, and Lauren Williams. At our 45th annual banquet on Sunday, August 28, 2022, the hall will honor Ambridge High School graduate John Mano, sports journalism. John's not here this evening. Or family. This year, the hall will also induct a special class of 20 pioneers of Beaver County sports who reached the ultimate level of their sport before the end of World War II. Many of these pioneers have been forgotten over time, but now will be remembered as part of the history of our county's sports. One of the pioneers to be inducted, who was born and raised in Ambridge, will be Gerald Jerry Edwin Dennerlein, New York Giants, NFL 1937 and 1940. In addition to Ambridge athletes and a coach will be recognized, Jake Marotti, recipient of the 2020 Dick Cades Award, Isaac Elliott, recipient of the 2022 Dick Cades Award, and Glenn Freed, Coaches Award 2019 WPIAL Class 2A Boys Volleyball.
Congratulations.
Mrs. Sipes, if you could come forward, please. National State Teachers of the Year, Pennsylvania Chapter Apple Award. Mrs. Caitlin Sipes, State Street Elementary PTO President, has been recognized by her colleagues of the National State Teachers of the Year, Pennsylvania Chapter for the Apple Award. This award is presented to educators in our state for exceptional efforts in teaching, coaching, and other efforts that support educational excellence. It recognizes members of the educational community who make a positive difference in the lives of students, school districts, and communities. Mrs. Nicole Derrick nominated, Nicole, you can come up as well. Mrs. Nicole Derrick nominated Mrs. Sipes for this award. Congratulations to Mrs. Sipes.
Kelly and I are gonna go. Oh, okay. You want me to do it, or you want to do it?
I think they just have.
Congratulations. Ms. Fitzko and Mrs. Smith are coming down for the rest of the awards tonight.
Boys Volleyball Recognition 22-23 season. Congratulations, Amber Area Boys Volleyball team and their coaches for earning the bronze WPIAL medal and trying for 9th place in the PIAA. In the last 11 seasons, the Ambridge Boys Volleyball team has earned 6 WPIAL championships, 1 second place, and 3 third place finishes. Special recognition goes out to the following team players: Josh Hoven, senior, all-section first team and all WPIAL first team. Austin Merlina, senior, all-section first team and WPIAL first team. Congratulations. Trent McKnight, Jr., all-section second team and WPIAL third team. Tyler McKnight, Jr., all-section second team and WPIAL third team. Congratulations on all your hard work and accomplishments. So you guys want to come down? We can take a picture with everyone. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Next, Pony League World Series. Congratulations to Eli Hartman for making it into a local Pony League World Series team. Congratulations.
Congratulations. At this time, district residents may come forward to comment on agenda items only. Each person must state their first and last name and address prior to speaking. Each resident will be allowed 3 minutes and can speak only once. This period for public comment prior to the standing committee reports will be limited to 1/2 hour. Although not required, board members desiring to address questions or concerns may do so after the residents' comments or questions or at the conclusion of the committee reports. There will be an opportunity for residents to comment on any business relevant to the Ambridge Area School District under old and new business at the end of the meeting. Is there anybody who wishes to speak this evening? Okay. Under committee reports, education and technology, Mrs. Smith and Mr. Zachi, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Number 1 will be the additional targeted support and improvement as it was amended for consideration this evening. Number 2 is a club formation. It is recommended to approve the formation of the art club at the high school with sponsor to be paid a stipend of $470. And number 3, Robert Morris University Memorandum of Understanding. It is recommended to approve and amend an MOU between the Ambridge Area District and Robert Morris University pending the solicitor review. Any questions?
Go ahead, you go.
Yeah, I think we were going to have Dr. Filipowski and Ms. Zupsik just briefly share a little bit more information on number 1 for the board.
Good evening. You should all have the PowerPoint in front of you. For those of you in the audience, it's up on the screen. So we're here tonight to give you an update both on what we have seen in 21-22 and where we're going for 22-23. If you take a look at the slide, what does ATSI mean? We gave a brief description. So ATSI is a component of 2 federally prescribed designations. You have CSI, which is comprehensive support, which is the highest level of support where schools are facing significant challenges. And then you have ATSI, which is schools that have 1 or more targeted areas. So they're not looking at all students, but just subgroups. And for Ambridge, our high school was designated as an ATSI for students with disabilities. That started in 1920, and then it's a 3-year cycle. So we run in 1920, 2021, 22. So we were designated at the end of 1920, so it started 2021, and it goes through 22, 23. So tonight we'll look at what we did and where we're going. Okay. Oops. So if you take a look at the next slide, it says data trends. There's a key on the left where it says, green is growth, gray is the same, and red is a decrease. And then there's a little code for, if I used SWD, students with disabilities, IS for insufficient sample, and IT for insufficient testers. So the first data we used that had us fall into the ATSI category. If you look at 1920, you can see what we had done for you is put the high school scores and then the state average scores. And you'll see for ELA and math, we were above the state average for 1920, so for all students. So we were at 67.5% for ELA Keystone, where the state was at 62.1%. And then if you look, when you see PVOS, PVOS is measuring growth. So if you look at all students, we were significantly above the state average of growth, where our students were growing at 86% and the state was growing at 75%. For Math Keystone, our high school was 54.7% for all students, and the state average was 45.2%. So again, we were significantly above. Our growth, though, in math was below at 50% versus 75% for state average. Where we were a little below, where we were below the state average is Science Keystone, where we were 54.9% versus the state average is 66%. But it still was high enough not to be designated as a CSI school. So I wanted to call that out. And then our growth again was at 50%. And then finally our attendance was at 80%, where our state average was 85.7%. And then career standards was at 90.8%, where we were above the state, which was at 89.8%. And then finally, graduation rates, we were above the state average at 88.7%. Okay? And then if you look at 1920, where it says SWD, this is where we were designated as an ATSI. And so here are our scores for students with disabilities. You can see only 20% of our students with disabilities were scoring at proficient for the ELA Keystone, and for the math Keystone, only 10%. But if you take a look at our growth rates, at ELA, we were at 72% growth, and at math PVUS, we were at 70% growth. And I just want to call out students with disabilities, you are going to see, you're going to want to look at growth over looking at proficiency, because they are students with disabilities, and they are going to perform lower when they're tested in subject areas where they have a disability. So you will see a lower score for that reason, because they do have a true disability. And then, so when you're looking at that, we then went to 2020 and then 2021 data. And then based on that data, what I did, you can see if it's green, that we had growth. And so we had an insufficient sample size for ELA Keystone, meaning, it's COVID, we just didn't have enough testers in that sample. And so I couldn't give you the scores for that, but for our PVUS, our growth, 100% of our students who did take the test had shown growth, which was amazing. So that means every single kid that did take the Keystone ELA test showed significant growth. And the state average was 75%. And we attribute that to, we put a lot of things in place where we added a different curriculum for our students with disabilities, and some other students where we put Read to Achieve in, and then we also added Reading Horizons, so we did see a lot of growth there. For math, we did see a decrease, so we went from 54.7% to 40.9%, but you can see the state average also dropped quite a bit. It went from 45 to 37%. We see that decline. Again, remember, this is right in the heat of COVID, and I do have a cautionary note there that we did see a dip where students weren't able to grasp as much concepts being online versus, being actually in the classroom. We stayed the same for growth, and then if you look at science, we did have a dip, went from 54.9% to 43.2%, and the state average also had a dip in their scores as well. And then if you look at attendance, you will see that we went down to 78.5%. The state stayed about the same, but what we'll talk about in a minute is we actually got back up to 90% by the end of the year. That data is just not out yet. Okay. And then career standards, you can see we had significant growth. We went from 90 to 95%, and the state actually lost ground. And then finally, for graduation rates, we ticked up a bit, and the state also went up a little bit. And then if you look at students with disabilities, you'll see that we had significant growth. Again, I had mentioned what we had put in place. So we went from 10% to 20% growth in math, and then for attendance, we went up 2% to 66. And then career standards, we had significant growth where we went up from 75% to almost 92%. Any questions on that? No? Okay, so then if you go to the next page, I wanted to share the goals we had for 21-22 and the progress that we did make. So our goal was to increase ELA performance by 15% on common assessments. And we met that target goal because 20% of our students in general education and 26.2% of our students in special education had shown an increase on the common assessments when we were targeting 15. I also added for you, because it's important to look at students with disabilities, Ames Web in the high school is a progress monitoring tool we use for students with disabilities, and you can see that we had significant increase in basic math skills, because that's what Ames Web is measuring. And in grade 9, we had 44% increase in ELA, and grade 10, we had 57% increase. And that's taking kids from tier 3, which is, showing very below basic, to tier 1, so they're in the proficient level of basic skills in ELA. And we attribute that to the interventions we did put into place. Our next goal was an increase in math by 15% on common assessments. We met that target where we had students increase to 35.5% in general education and 16.2% in special education. Again, I pulled Ames Web to show, and for special education, we did see an increase again in basic math skills, which, I'm sorry, that was a typo. The first one is in basic reading skills, I apologize. And then grade 9 had an increase of 26%, and grade 10 had an increase in 22%. Again, that was from tier 3 to tier 1. We did have, again, a slight decline when we looked at the final data at the end of the year that we had to use for the state. On the slide before, I had said it was 78.5%. We took that all the way up to 91.47%, which was phenomenal. But the state, to meet that target, we had to be at 95%. So I just wanted to show, even though we went from 78 to 91, we're still in the red because the target was 95%. Okay. And then finally, our last goal for that year was 75% of the students in life skills classroom would have access to the PACE lab at least once a week. We exceeded that. When I came on board, I worked with Principal Zubsik, and we got that going, and we trained the teachers, and we have 100% of our students in the life skills classroom using that PACE lab every single day. And we have them rotating with our independent living department and our cooking lab every day. Okay? And then finally, the last 2 slides is what we're moving into tonight to talk about is the 22-23 ATSI goals. So if you look at that, our goals based on all the data that we had at our hands from the state, we're looking to increase our attendance by 2% each quarter for an overall 8%, which is what the state target now is. Our baseline, again, was 78.5% from the data that we have to use from the state, and we know that we're up to 91% now. Students with disabilities, 66% is the baseline. Algebra, we're going to be adding in a tier 3 intervention called Trans Math in our course that we're adding Algebra 1A this year, and then in 23-24 we'll be adding Algebra 1B. And in those courses, they'll be using Trans Math intervention. Similar to how we added Reading Horizon intervention to ELA, we'll be adding a tier 3 intervention for math for students struggling in that area. And we predict that they'll grow at least 5% in quantile growth each quarter for a total of 15%. We move on to targeting our science, our biology, and students in biology will show an increase in overall earned grades by 12% by the end of the year. And then we sent, for that, I'm doing a little bit of the next slide at the same time, we sent 2 teachers to a conference, that national conference, to get information on how to engage students in science. So we're hoping that that'll increase those scores. And then finally at the high school, Principal Zubsik took the lead on this. We're going to implement school-wide positive intervention and supports in the high school. We currently have it in all 3 elementaries and in the middle school, so the high school is going to onboard now. You typically onboard 1 or 2 schools at a time, so we'll be adding that as well. And then finally, that last page, like I said, I did incorporate that into the last slide, but the information is there for you, where we have plans to address each of those goals and then the expected outcome that we would have. And then and that is there for you. Any Do you want to ask questions now? or-
Anyone have any questions?
I only have one comment. I did want to thank Dr. Filipowski. It's impressive to me that the life skills classroom is back up and where it should be. I think that's something that you should be commended for and returning to the district. So
Thank you. Thank
That's
you so
something
much.
near and dear to my heart. That's where I started. Thank you so much.
Sure,
for
and we're adding a
putting that
second
hard
this year, so.
work. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? All right.
Thank you both
Thank
very
you.
much for all of that. A lot of information. Thank you for putting all of that together. Okay, so I don't believe we had a motion for those three.
Correct. I will make a motion to accept items 1, 2, and 3 as presented, as amended.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any board discussion? Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Carpenter?
He was a yes, but go ahead. Can you say it again?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Fitzko?
Yes.
Mr. Keever?
Yes.
Mrs. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zaggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Ramasco?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Under Finance and Budget and Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Keeper. So, Mr. Keeper.
All right, we'll run through these. Item number 1, school district monthly bills and salaries as presented. Number 2, cafeteria monthly bills and salaries as presented. We have a tax exoneration, recommended to authorize Betsy Miller of 1401 8th Street Extension, Ambridge, PA, to acquire the following parcels from the Beaver County Tax Repository, conditioned upon compliance with tax claim bureau requirements and 2, payment satisfaction in full of all school district real estate taxes for the 22 school year on or before July 1st, 2023, and each year thereafter, including 2023 as prescribed by law. Number 4, on the approved vendors, it's recommended to add New York Life as a service provider for the Ambridge Area School District's 403B plan administered by the Omni Group. Number 5, Walsworth Yearbooks. It's recommended to approve a 2-year purchase agreement between the Ambridge Area School for 2022-23 and 23-24 school year for a total cost of $14,000 as presented. Number 6, the baggage scanner. It is recommended to retroactively accept the proposal from Rapspian Systems for the purchase of 1 baggage scanner for the high school in the amount of $24,135. That's state contract pricing. Number 7, amendment to the Early Head Start of Beaver County lease agreement is recommended to approve the amendment to the lease agreement for the Early Head Start of Beaver County program with the new effective date of August 1, 2022 and end on May 31, 2023, pending solicitor review. Repository, it is recommended the board approve the sale of the property from the Beaver County Repository of Unsold Property for the following properties: 107 Highlandwood Drive, Ambridge. Award of bids, it's recommended to approve the lowest qualified bid for the middle school concrete repair project from Bevel Aqua Construction in the amount of $24,900. Any discussion on items 1 through 9?
I have a general question or comment about number 5, the Walsworth yearbooks. I've had a couple people in the community come forward, and I don't know who the distributor of yearbooks this year was from middle school, but it's my understanding that 2 years in a row, parents have ordered yearbooks and spent money and have not received either this year and the year previous. So is it the same company? Is this for across the district or just high school yearbooks we're talking about? High school's yearbooks were distributed correctly, but in middle school, apparently there's issues. Anybody? Okay, so this is just high school.
Thank you.
Well, as a point of information, can we find out what's going on at the middle school?
Yeah.
Parents are without money and do not have the product.
Yeah, I'll ask about it, look into it.
Cool, thank you.
Can I have a motion for that, for those items?
Make a motion to approve items number 1 through 9.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any other board discussion? Okay, roll call, hold on, sorry. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Fitzko?
Yes.
Mr. Keeper?
Yes.
Mrs. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes?
Mr. Zaggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Ramasco?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under athletics and public relations, Mr. Zachary and Ms. Fitzko.
Yes, for number 1, the Huddle agreement. It's recommended to approve a 3-year agreement with Agile Sport Technologies, doing business as Huddle, at a cost of $11,000 per year for a total cost of $33,000 for the purpose of athletic live streaming. Just a few points on this. I want to give a shout out a little bit to the former athletic director, Mr. Turk, and then Mr. Glenn Freed kind of finalized everything in the last few weeks prior to our new AD coming on board. This is going to provide free access to the community and anybody else anywhere, basically, to watch sporting events and other educational events through a website at the cost of obviously the school district. There's going to be 3 cameras, fixed cameras located, 1 in the stadium, 1 in the field house, and 1 in the high school gymnasium. This will allow the boys and girls programs that play in those facilities to access the live streaming based on those cameras. Other facilities and other sports that play, such as baseball, softball, track and field, they can then video their own on a phone or some kind of device and then later upload to their channel, let's say. And so some of them may be live if they are able to live stream remotely, or they can just watch the participation later at a later time. There's, I don't have all the sports, 5 or 6, Kelly, that do live stats within 24 hours. Football, basketball, volleyball, lacrosse, soccer. Within 24 hours after the event, the stats will go live. And I don't know if those are going to be public or just sent to the coaches. So those are automatically done, provided by Huddle themselves. They tell us that they're constantly revamping and upgrading their systems to allow more sports for those accesses. And so as those come on board, more will be added at, we were told, certain things, no additional cost. Basically what we're paying for is the software to run everything. In addition to sports, we will also allow each school, let's just say a user would be the principal, they can choose things to live stream throughout the school. We can do certain events such as Grand March for Prom, any kind of NHS or presentation, whether it's in the auditorium here or through our own video cameras. And also concerts for band and chorus and those types of events. And that's going to be from high school all the way down to elementary possibilities, as long as that school has a user that can manage that kind of facilitation of the video. So we've been positively told that we can also do the play. So we're trying to figure stuff out. So at that time, when that time comes, we'll figure out copyrights if we're allowed to live stream, or if that will have to be a separate issue through the play production to charge a fee due to all the copyrights of the music and whatnot. So we 2 or 3 companies we looked at over the last several months with Mr. Turk, and this is the best option, the best product, I guess, the best value that was given to us, and this is the one that is chosen to present tonight. Hudl is also known for a lot of recruiting and coaching tools. Coaches can tape practices, players can pull off highlights from different games and provide them for themselves on a profile and then share those to college coaches and recruitment of that sort. Those are individual profiles, but they can pull it off of this live stream access. And it's live stream and on demand, so if you miss it live, they do go into a system where you can watch a game later or watch past games as well. So, is there any additional questions on that? I kind of provided a lot of information there.
I was just going to ask you one thing. So we talked about so it's for, initially it was only purchased for certain sports, I believe, right? We already had a contract with Hudl, correct, Mr. Zachy?
I think it was just football.
Okay. So this will be covering all of the sports. We ensured that it would be covering all the sports, and each school principal would then have access, like Mr. Zachy said, for any other additional events that would be outside of those 3 cameras that are being installed. So that's how you're able to do it at different schools.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
Okay. And then my number 2, library contributions. It's recommended to approve distribution of budgeted allotments for 22-23 school year to the Baden Library for $42.50 and the Ambridge Laughlin Library for $52.50. Motion to approve items 1 and 2.
Can I have a second, please?
I will second.
Any other board discussion? Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Fitzko?
Yes.
Mr. Keeber?
Yes.
Mrs. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zachy?
Yes.
Mrs. Ramasco?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Under steering and rules and legislative, Mrs. Kehoe and Mrs. Fisher.
Yes, I'd like to move for the adoption of item number 1, policy 626, federal fiscal compliance. It is a first reading for a revision to include language regarding payment of staff with federal funds in extenuating or emergency circumstances in accordance with applicable law, regulations, or emergency declarations by state or federal authorities.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Any board discussion? Can I have a roll call?
Mr. Carpenter?
Please.
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Fitzko?
Yes.
Mr. Keeber?
Yes.
Mrs. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zachy?
Yes.
Mrs. Ramasco?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under personnel and salary schedule and labor relations, Mrs. Smith this evening.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to paraphrase. There's a lot of information tonight.
I can read some if you would like.
Mr. Cephas is
Let me
absent.
know.
All right, here we go. Posted positions, clubs, and activities. The following activity and club are for high school, all the way from band director down to mock trial team. Feel free to read the names and the remuneration. All the way through ski club. And then again, there we have a middle school list, which includes math counts. And there are 2 names listed there with remuneration. Number 2 is posted positions, department heads, and now building heads. The members listed are for elementary and then secondary with the amounts. Heading over to the next page, we have kindergarten through 12th grade. And then some building heads listed, middle school 2, Economy Elementary 1, Highland 1, State Street 1. That takes care of number 2. Under number 3, technology integrators. It is recommended to approve the following individuals to serve as the technology integrators in their assigned buildings for the 22-23 school year. They are paid a stipend of $1,200 as per the collective bargaining agreement. Names are listed below. Number 4 is the Orton Gillingham training. It is recommended to ratify the following elementary teacher a minimum of 42 hours to complete Orton Gillingham training at the rate per the collective bargaining agreement. And it is name listed. She is from Highland Elementary. Number 5 is a memorandum of understanding between the Ambridge Area School District and the Ambridge Area Education Association regarding the athletic director's summer support. Continuing on, number 6 is a resignation. Ms. Lori Heim, with regret, effective June 10th. Number 7 is a resignation. Mr. Scott McMullen, position as the business teacher at the high school, and that's effective June 9th, with regret. Number 8 is a resignation of Abigail Longwell from her position as a middle school science teacher and at the high school? Which is it?
It is at the middle school.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry
Okay,
about that.
no, that's okay. Effective August 31st, with regret. Number 9 is another resignation. Ms. Jennifer Phillips, her position at the high school as a learning support, emotional support, autistic support, life skills, transition, special education teacher, effective June 26th, with regret. Number 10 is also a resignation of Rachel Hughes from her position at the Ambridge Area High School learning support, emotional support, autistic support, life skills, transition, special education, effective June 30th, 2022, with regret. One more resignation.
I'm sorry, we have
Okay.
to have a correction there.
Sure.
I apologize. That should be Highland Elementary School?
For Rachel Hughes.
Yes, I apologize.
So after we're done going through everything, Megan, will I just read as amended?
Yeah.
I'll amend it. Okay, thank you.
Or as noted. Yep.
Number 11 was the other resignation. Somebody want to help me? Mr. George Kutsumbis.
Yes.
I'm very sorry, I'm trying my best. From his position as the food service director, and that was effective June 10th, with regret. And number 12, we have a retirement of Shad Greco from his position at the Ambridge Area High School. He's a math teacher, effective June 22nd, with regret. 13 is a professional employee. Recommended to retroactively approve Anna Rubaker as the Ambridge Area High School learning support, emotional support, life skills, transition, special education teacher at a salary of $46,771, which is step 1 bachelor, effective with the first day of the new teacher induction as per the terms of the Ambridge Area Education Association agreement, pending receipt of current clearances, satisfactory drug screening, TB testing, and responses by current former employers to Act 168 screening. Number 14 is another professional employee. Hannah Joswack will be at Highland Elementary at a salary of $46,771, also step 1 bachelor. Number 15, food service director. It is recommended to retroactively approve Leanne Holman as the Ambridge Area School District food service director at a salary of $60,000 and participate as a member of the Act 93 agreement effective July 5th, 2022, pending receipt of clearances, satisfactory drug screening, TB testing, and responses from current former employers to Act 168. Number 16 is a technology director. It is recommended to approve Foster Crawford as the Ambridge Area School District Technology Director at a salary of $78,000 and participating in Act 93, also pending clearances. Number 17 will be an assistant high school principal / athletic director. It is recommended to retroactively approve Joseph Lamenza as the Ambridge Area School District principal / athletic director at a salary of $90,000. Participate also in Act 93. This will be effective July 5th and also pending current clearances. Number 18 is maintenance. it is recommended retroactively approving Donald Stuber as a full-time maintenance as per the terms of Local 248 Ambridge Area School Employees, the negotiated agreement. Also pending current clearances, satisfactory drug screening, TB, responses from current former employers, and Act 168. Number 19, the Local 248 arbitration settlement. It is recommended to ratify the letter of understanding with AFSC ME Local 248 dated June 13, 2022.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
1 second, I'm sorry.
Sure.
On number 17, there is a typo. Joseph Lemenza as the Ambridge Area High School assistant principal should be in there. It's labeled as assistant high school principal / athletic director at the top, like the title, but right in the actual, just so everybody is aware.
Yep.
So that'd be another as noted.
Sure.
Yeah, point of correction. Okay, sorry about that.
Mrs. Ramasco, also on Leanne Holman's name, there should be an E. It's A-N-N-E.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Number 20, district physician. It is recommended to approve the district physician professional service agreement between the Ambridge Area School District and Dr. Jeffrey Hine to provide services to the district for the 22-23 school year. Number 21, Maxim Healthcare staffing. It is recommended to approve an educational institute staffing agreement between the Ambridge Area School District and Maxim Healthcare staffing to provide personnel to supplement educational institution staff. Number 22, STAT staffing. It is recommended to approve a staffing agreement between the Ambridge Area School District and STAT Staffing Medical Services Incorporated. Number 23, posted positions, clubs / activities. It is recommended to rescind the approval of Matt Palladio as the high school yearbook club co-sponsor for the 2021-22 school year and ratify Kent Withrow as the yearbook club sponsor for the 2021-22 school year to be paid the full stipend of $2,490. Number 24, the 2022-23 fall coaches. It is recommended the following individuals be approved to fill the designated fall coaching positions for the 2022-23 school year at the salary as per the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, pending clearances. We have a cross country, a boys soccer, a girls soccer, and a girls volleyball. Sorry. Number 25, technology support technician. It is recommended that Nicholas Snyder, the technology support technician, receive a 2.92% increase for the 2022-23 school year. And number 26, the 2022-23 musical staffing. It is recommended to approve the following musical staffing positions for the 2022-23 musical at the designated stipend, pending receipt of clearances. There's a play director, a music director, choreographer, and assistant director, all listed for your viewing pleasure. Number 27, an elementary summer school. It is recommended to ratify Carrie Milenich to work in the elementary summer school from Monday, July 11th, 2022 through Thursday, July 14th, 2022. And again, Monday, July 18th, 2022 through Thursday, July 21st, 2022, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Highland Elementary, and the high school at the rate of pay as per the collective bargaining agreement. Number 28, the extended school year services. It is recommended to ratify the following individuals be ratified to provide extended school year services to students from same dates listed above, same time, at Highland Elementary: Christine McCloskey, nurse; Karen Smith, nurse; Molly Bell, paraeducator; and Lisa Patton, also a paraeducator. Number 29 is the 2022-23 band camp positions. It is recommended to approve the following band camp positions for the 22-23 summer band camp at the designated stipend, pending clearances. We have a percussion instructor, color guard choreographer, bridge or bell choreographer, and a brass instructor listed.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Caitlin Kalani's name, June, it should be CAITLIN-KILIANY.
She is the bridge or bell choreographer. CAITLIN-KIL.
IANY.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, number 29, all right. Yeah, one more. Number 30 is the paraeducators. It is recommended to hire the following individual to fill the paraeducator and/or teaching assistant positions as per the terms of the Ambridge Area Education Support Professional Association. The collective bargaining agreement pending receipt of current clearances. There's one name listed, Stormy Yem, and that will be at Highland Elementary.
And Mrs. Smith, I
Yes.
have another amendment for 10 for you.
Number 10?
It's Rachel Hughes. Her title should be Learning Support / Emotional Support at Highland Elementary.
Not autistic and all that other, so just remove that? All right,
So it's Learning Support / Emotional Support
got it. And at what school? Highland?
at Highland.
Got it.
Thank you.
So, with that, I will make a motion accepting items 1 through 30 as amended and updated.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any board discussion on any of those items? Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Carpenter?
Hold on, sorry.
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Fitzko?
Yes.
Mr. Keeper?
Yes on 1 through 30, except number 2. I have to abstain on number 2. My wife's listed.
Mrs. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zachi?
Yes.
Mrs. Ramasco?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And thank you, Mrs. Smith, for reading all of that. I know that was a lot.
Yes, did a good job.
All I have for this evening, I just wanted to thank Dr. Filipowski and Ms. Zupsik for coming tonight to give us that update. That was very helpful information. Thank you to all of the administrators for helping us fill these vacancies in a quick manner and finding the appropriate people to work for our district. And then I just wanted to give a quick update. So first wanted to thank the board. The board and the administration has been working very hard this summer. We know that there's a lot of safety concerns, discipline concerns throughout the district. We have met with Chief DeLuca, and also we had a board retreat on site, so at no cost to the district, last week to talk specifically about those two things for quite a bit of time, and we will be having a second portion of that in August, and then we'll have a lot of hopefully new information or updates at the August meetings. So that is all I have for this evening. Solicitor Turnbull, do you have anything?
No, I just have one informational item. As a result of our interactions with the district attorney's office several months ago, he invited me to participate in a school safety panel. He's hosting 2 days. They are all-day events for school officials and local law enforcement. So there's one next week. So I'll be attending and presenting a small piece of that. And I understand that we have administrators who will be attending that as well. So I will see you there. And we'll all collectively bring back any information that has value for this group.
Thank you. And that reminds me too that I forgot. So thank you, Solicitor Turnbull, for all of your hard work this summer as well, because you've been meeting with us as well. And thank you to Mr. Freed for all of your work in that short amount of time as the interim AD. That really helped with a lot of the different things that we were working on. So thank you. That's all I have. Sorry. Dr. Pascarella.
Yes, thank you. Just again, want to congratulate everyone we recognize, Coach Freed, the team, all of the students, and PTO parent support that we're here today to be recognized. Very proud of the district. It's always a great opportunity to recognize them. Again, thank you to Dr. Filipowski, as you said, and Ms. Zubsik for their work on the PowerPoint tonight, but more importantly, their work throughout the year to try to continue to increase our scores. So, and yes, it's been a busy summer, but a good summer. We still have some work to go to fill some positions, but I'd like to thank the entire administrative team for working through this process to try to work as quickly and as efficiently as possible. We're excited to have many new folks onboarded as a part of our team, and would like to thank all those who provided excellent service to our students and took positions elsewhere. So congratulations to them as well. And other than that, enjoy the rest of the summer. It's blown by really quickly, but be sure to enjoy yourself out there. It goes fast, and pretty soon we'll be ready to open up another school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pascarella. It is now time for old and new business. Any district resident who desires to comment on any business relevant to the Ambridge Area School District should now come forward. Each person must state their first and last name and address prior to speaking, and each person will be allowed 3 minutes and can speak only once. Anybody that wishes to speak on any old and new business this evening?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So page 3, number 3, the Robert Morris University Memorandum of Understanding, if you can just give more explanation of what that is between Amherst School District and Robert Morris. Page 4, number 6, with the baggage scanner, where's the money coming from to pay for that? And I do see that it is state contract pricing, but I'm going to reiterate what I said way back several months ago in the fall, that I also am concerned about the safety of children, but it always starts back at the home. And the other issue that I have not yet heard through these many months that I've been attending is about the mental well-being of some of these children, because some of these shootings have been because these children are mentally unstable, and that's a fact. And we do not, as a country, address this. So this is something as a country that we need to address. Page 5, with the Huddle agreement, again, I'm glad that you folks are doing this, but where is the money coming from? Because you said this note, it's the school is paying for this, but where is the money coming from? Will the taxpayer eventually have to pay for this? And are there any other schools in the state that you are aware of using this technology? And there's another question, I'm sorry. Yeah, page 7, number 4, that we're in Gilligan training again. Thank you again for providing that for the teachers. I'm just curious, were there no other teachers interested? Do you only just send one? Because that just seems like a really low number for elementary teachers of going, because if you nip it in the bud earlier, you're able to help these children with dyslexia. And I think, yeah. So page 9, with all these new hires, are you able to tell us if these people are local? And I don't mean necessarily an Ambridge school district within the county, Beaver County. And then finally, number 19, are you able to give more detail about the settlement? And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So there's a couple that I can respond to, and then there's a few I'll probably call on some other people to respond.
Mrs. Ramasco.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know if this, she didn't state her name, and just for record-keeping purposes.
Thank you. Would you mind coming back up? Thank you.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, that's all right, I guess, because I'm just used to being here every month. I'm sorry. It's Fabiola Gergerich, 2623 Woodland Road.
Thank you. Okay, so starting on page 3, number 3, the MOU between the Ambridge Area School District and Robert Morris University. Do you want to speak? or are you able to speak to that?
This is an amendment, just basically allows to one that we've already approved. Ms. Zubczyk and I have been meeting with a correspondent reach out to us from Robert Morris, looking at trying to offer some courses where our teachers are teaching them. The amendment just simply allows that if we wanted to or were interested in, it provides an opportunity for our students to be able to visit campus if we wanted to visit their campus and look and gain some experience. That's the major change. Other than that, it's a partnership where we're working with them to offer some classes here at the high school.
Thank you. Page 4, number 6, about the baggage scanner. So that is money that was, do you want to go ahead? No, you go ahead.
All right. The baggage scanner, to answer your question about where is the money coming from, we wrote a grant once before and didn't receive it. We have turned in yet another grant to try to get reimbursement, but in the meantime, it was something that was recommended by Chief DeLuca. We discussed it in some depth, and then recommended it as part of the budget process from the board. So currently, it is if that's what you were asking, money-wise, it is coming from our general fund budget. However, it is our hope that, whether we get additional ones or are able to reimburse for that, if we were awarded a grant, we'll continue to look to write grants and hopefully either be able to reimburse or get additional ones. Thank you.
And then I think you had mentioned just the mental health needs of our students. That is something that we have been talking about a lot in some of these discussions. And so also the state has just put out their budget for the year. I don't know if you took a look at that, but I do believe that we're still looking at all the details, but there is some different dollar amounts that are allotted for some programs and things of that nature. Page 5, number 1 for Huddle. So we were already paying Huddle. We've already been using them in the past for, I believe it was one sport. It may have been 2 or 3. I believe it was only one though. So we actually were paying, again, don't quote me because I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it was half of that amount. 32?
$3,300 was the budgeted amount.
Okay.
When we looked at it, as we added more and more sports, they discounted the more that we added. The package price of the $11,000 actually comes at a 38% total discount. The initial $3,300 was budgeted, and we made a decision to increase the budget amount for the athletic department to allow for all sports and community to watch our sports. I'll keep going. To answer the question of how many schools, it's a pretty readily available and popular system. There's at least 50 schools in the WPIAL here in Western PA that use it, and there's agreements through Huddle that if one of our schools should visit a school that also has the system, the videos are reciprocal, so they'll share with us, and if they come here, we share with them. That's done automatically. So it's more readily available than it has been in the past, and more schools are signing on to it.
Thank you, Mr. Zachy. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, the Orton Gillingham training that you inquired about, this is, we had already approved quite a few other teachers to participate. This was just somebody else who did end up being interested, and we approved that individual as well. And you asked about local hires. I mean, we don't have a specific reason. In our process, we hire the best. I mean, some are very local, some are county, some are in the area. But we don't have anything specific that says we only hire from this county.
Okay. Relative to item 19 under personnel, the arbitration settlement, this is the resolution of a labor grievance that acknowledges managerial rights to quarantine employees for certain COVID-related matters and the application of holiday pay for a specific employee in a situation.
I believe that was all of them. Did I get them all? Okay. Anybody else that wishes to come forward for public comment this evening? have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?